Hello, I'm going to show how I did the animation for filling up the bottle. So I'm just going to copy this bottle from my conveyor belt. Okay. Similar thing that I did for removing the background. So I double click and I select the transparent color. And I click on apply and OK. So that's my bottle sitting on a conveyor belt, and I need the source of orange juice, the tank. I go back to my source of pictures and I put all the pictures on brightest space, so you should be able to use them, but you're going to have extra mark if you use your own pictures or you use the built-in examples that are available on GraphWorks. Now I copy that, I go back to my GraphWorks and I put that here. The tank doesn't have much function, it's just representing source of my liquid. I remove the background again. Well, working with a bitmap file is a little bit challenging. If you find other formats of pictures more useful, so you can do that. For the part that I'm moving the bottle, you're going to have the bottle attached to a part of the conveyor belt, and you animate that using the slider, and you can attach all of that together with the motors of the conveyor belt. I imagine you're okay with that part, and now I'm just going to put one drop of juice falling into the bottle. For doing that, I need to have a blob or a drop of juice. You can grab those that I have here, or you can have something taken like that. Now I copy that and I go back here and I have that pasted. So that comes as a piece. I picked a big blob on purpose so it is more visible when I'm recording, but you can have a smaller and smoother flow, or you might come up with another idea to create that animation. Now I'm going to remove that white surrounding to make it look like a real drop of juice. Now, right now, my blob is on the back, or here it's in the front. And in some cases, we might want to have the object moved to the back or front. For this case, I'm going to put it inside this tank, and I want it to flow all the way from this pipe from the valve and come and drop to the bottom. So when it is sitting here, I'm happy with the fact that it's in front of the pictures, other pictures, but you have option to change that. In some cases, if you need to move that to the front or back, by selecting these options here, you can move it. Now, for example, in this case, I'm here. Now, I want to move it to the back. I select this one, goes to the back. You can see what happened. Move to the back. Well, for this example, I want it to be in front, but you might need it in other examples or other parts of this project. Now, if I put it here, it will be a little bit difficult to see. So what I advise you to do is to have a different color for the tank at the beginning and different color of the drops. When you're happy with your motion, everything is working the way you want, then you can change that color, the same color as this drop, so they kind of mix up and they don't show. But for now it's okay because I'm just going to show one drop and it's not that difficult to do it with only one. Now the type of the movement that I want to happen is I kind of want it to come, move. It's going to be a straight kind of way, and then here it's going to bend down and fall into the bottom. So from the dynamic, from action, I'm going to use the location, but here comes the challenge. I'm going to use the fourth option here. So this one is kind of flexible and it gives us option to break the path down to few paths, and then we can select the end point of that movement. For the data tag, I'm going to use something that I haven't used so far. So float 1 was taken with the conveyor belt, so I'm going to use float 2, and keep that in mind because we need to have the same thing for the slider. Now for the limit, let's first do this part. So what number I put here matters a lot because that is directly related to how fast my drop is coming down. So in the example that I demonstrated, I have 15 or 16 drops and each of them have different speed. That way I kind of showed that filling up effect. In this case, I'm just going to say from 0 to, from 0 to 10. And then I'm going to set the limit. You can see that I have that gray box around it. So I'm going to grab it and put it at the very bottom of this bottle. Now I have this line here, which I can break it down. When I move my cursor, my mouse on the line, I see that cross. So that cross means that I can move the path. As you can see, I can bend it and have many different smaller paths to have my object to travel. Now you move away from the box and you press the escape key. Now comes back to the property inspector window. Here I'm happy with the tag, it was float 2. I'm happy with everything else. I click on apply and OK. Now I need to grab another slider. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now I need another slider. For a slider, we get it from here. Okay. Oopsie, I brought by mistake. Now I'm going to double click on that, and then from the tag menu I'm going to select from OPC tag browser the one that I attached to that one for my drop, and that was float 2. So I click OK. The range, I want to make sure that I have same range, and that would be it. And I want continuous update. So from the menu slider, I click on continuous update, and the general menu, I just selected the correct float, and then I'm happy with everything and I press OK. Now let's go to runtime by holding the control key and M. Now here we go. So I'm going to move my drop. You can see that drop is traveling to my bottle. Something else that I added to this animation was the level of liquid inside the bottle moving upward. So for that purpose, you may require grabbing one of my pictures, or you can draw your picture. So I'm in this case getting this one here, and going back to GraphWorks and pasting it similar way. I'm removing the background, apply, and OK. I'm just checking the size of my liquid. Does it match? I zoom in. Okay, just scale it a little bit to fit my bottle. Now, the type of movement for this juice, I want the level to be to start from the very bottom side and come up slowly up to fill up when the flow is coming. For doing that, the type of dynamic that I need is from the action menu. I'm going to have the size. So we have different types of size. So you may like to use this one here because it expands from center. You may like to use this one, expands from top and bottom. Naturally, when you are filling up a bottle, realistically that moves from the bottom upward. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. And for the data tag, you can use this one here. It's not going to make a lot of sense because I have only one drop right now, but when you have a number of them and they flow, so it will make sense to fill the bottle with this one. So I arranged the this section. I changed the range from 0 to 10, and then I click on apply, and okay. Now I go to runtime. This time, once I have, oopsie, I should fix the zoom. Make sure that your zoom is correct when you go to runtime. Now I'm going to try to see if my juice is filling up. It's not realistic right now because it's filling up before even the drop falls, but I think you got the idea how to do this work.